Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Foreign Takes. I'm your host YT here with none other than KG and Big Lev. Boys, how you doing?
Yeah.
How's things looking?
Looking pretty from the top of the table, bro. The haters said it couldn't be done, but we did it. 6 games in.
If only it stopped right now, huh? Positive for
Yeah.
only you.
Yeah, positive for only Big Lev over here. We're on the brink of another sacking, so that's all good.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's true. Let's start off with a completely unrelated game. I think worth talking about is, of course, the title contenders that we all expected: Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. I think this game was all about one person, right? Once again, Mr. I've never read an encyclopedia, Mr. I'm cold-hearted, Mr. Cole Palmer.
Mr. Chippies on the chip, please give me some chippies.
Yeah.
He's
Chippies and
just
gravy.
at this stage. What do we say? This is not form, right? This is just class. He
Can
just
I?
is his
He,
class.
he is good. Yes. It's crazy, you can be so stupid, but then so gifted in other areas of life and they achieve success.
This is a great point that you brought up, and this is the discussion that I wanted to make. And I told you, YT, he is a throwback player. He is a player who creates magic out of nothing. Like that
Yeah.
pass that he gave to Jackson, that's something that players in the 90s or early 2000s did. Like it's the Pirlos, the Gattusos, not the Gattusos, the Pirlos, the Scoles, the Gerrards. So my point is, or my question is, how many players can you name that are more individualistic? Because I don't think we get any more players like that. We don't get the
I mean,
Gerrards.
the
Yeah,
only
honestly, the soccer has been so sterilized by
Yeah.
goddamn bold frauds who only like, oh, very rigid, pass, pass, pass. And you sometimes look back at the early 2000s, 90s players and how good they were. You're exactly right. He gives me strong Matt Letizia vibes.
Oh
He's
yeah.
kind of silky on the ball, also super dumb when he opens his mouth. But but
uh,
it's a nice, refreshing player to have.
like you know what I mean. I mean like back in the day, like a Champions League game between any two teams could have been this like they would have been equal, but it was decided by individuals. We don't get that anymore. There were games when they were dominated, but all the good Champions League games like Arsenal versus Man United, Ronaldo won that game. Like Ronaldo's free kick for 50 yards out to Arsenal's goals. That's his moment. It's what made Ronaldo Ronaldo. Milan versus United when Kaká dribbled past the whole defense of Gabriel Heinze jumping over Fletcher and Fletcher getting into Evra. That's Kaká's game. He won
yep.
that game. We don't get those type of players anymore, except for I would say Cole Palmer. For me, that's one, and I would say Lamine Yamal.
Yes,
Two.
that's
That's
the
up
other
to
one. But I think that's exactly why they stand out because they basically don't exist anymore, right? I think that's
yeah.
just the truth. Like if you look at what we would like using Premier League as an example, if you look at the top two teams, even I would say three teams, Arsenal, the closest would be Bukayo Saka, but it's really a team thing. Man City is both assistant players. Liverpool have a little bit of Salah, but again, it's like the system. So yeah, it doesn't exist. That is I think why people love watching Cole Palmer. It's just him. It's not the system enabling him. It's just his magical feats and his non-existent lizard brain that does it.
True. True. I have
Exactly.
to agree.
But
I
I
think
think,
that.
sorry,
Yeah. I
but
think.
going back to it though, my question is this sustainable for Chelsea? Because right now it's very clear it is Palmer's magic that is carrying them. The team is doing well, to be clear. There's a big improvement. But is this like a season form, or is this a no? Once Palmer is not able to pull magic out of his hat again for a string of games, or if he gets injured, they're going to collapse. Like that's my
Their
question.
their games are so chaotic that I don't think it's only Palmer. Because we had multiple players that were like some insane games, like Maduka had that hat trick, then some Nico Jackson had an insane game. So I don't think it's good. So the vibe around Chelsea is much better. It's not enough, and they're too chaotic to sustain it as a chat title challenge. But they're gonna be a much more fun team to watch than last season, and potentially make a run at that fourth place.
Right, because I think we all agree the top teams will carve them up, right? Like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liverpools, the Arsenals, they're so clinical. But I think you're right. I think they're in that sweet 4 to 8 spot where they have just. But also, you're bringing off $100 million Nkuku off the bench, Jao
Yeah.
Felix off the bench. At some stage, I'm just like the talent alone can just get you to a certain level.
So there's two things with Chelsea. I think one, they're a dark horse in terms of nobody mentions them, but they did shady things, as did City. Like they bought $1 billion worth of players. How is that even allowed? They should be relegated too. That's I think their front line is much better than their back line. The game versus Brighton, it was just the front. They scored goals just because of the front four. Palmer, Madueke, Sancho, and Jackson just attacking and pressing. But once the press was beaten, they were open. They just conceded shot after shot after shot. If David Sanchez gave away 2 balls and Brighton scored, but then if he didn't make a save, it would have been 3-3. Who knows? It would finish 4-2. Their back line and their midfield is not working altogether well. Their front line can be amazing, and as you mentioned, Wade, if they play against a proper team that knows how to defend, they'll carve them open. Maybe they won't beat them 3-0, but they'll beat them 2-0. Like the way
Yeah,
City rolled over them, it's gonna be easy. Yeah, but they're better than Man United all
yeah,
the
that's
time.
true.
So
I think quickly though on the Brighton piece, this is exactly what we expect, right? They played that suicidal high line. They got what they deserved, right? He didn't adjust at all. It was the most
I,
ridiculous high line to play.
it was the most ridiculous highlight. They didn't have the players, by the way. Half of their first squad was out or on the bench that weren't fit, and that's why partially like, I started. That's the initial seed that was in my brain to ask the question about previous football because, like, come on, like, it's entertaining to watch when you watch it for the first time, for the 50th time, but when you watch it for 100th time, like we get it. We get it. You want to play with a highlight. You want to do the pass. You want to beat them on like by this hair. It's like hair thin space. You just want to beat the other man to it so you can have the free space to run in and score a goal. We get what you're trying to do, but it's also very high risk. Can you just win the game? Can you have a different tactic?
That's
I
just not who
swear
they is. That's not their DNA.
it's no, it's not about DNA. It's not counterproductive. In my point, it's counterproductive.
Yeah,
What
I
did
agree.
Brighton achieve? Here's my question to you: would anyone remember Brighton if they don't win anything? If they
No,
won't win anything for the next 10 years, nobody will remember this football team. Like
no.
at the end of the day, you need to win things. Like they have a good base, and they need to take the next step forward and mature and stop playing this suicidal high line and risky football. Go on and win something to be like, oh, Brighton established a well-run machine where they had managers come in and they could do magic regardless and they could win titles or cups. But if you don't achieve anything, who cares? You're going to be mid
Yeah.
table, then you're going to get relegated and bye bye.
But I think this is where Herzler gets an opportunity. I'm like, you're 31, 32 years old. I hope you learn your lesson from this game. Don't be like the previous managers where you keep redoing it, because this is the first game they really got exposed with this. So that's where I have hopes that he will actually be the one to adjust them. Same score, different teams. Arsenal 4, Leicester 2. Completely different game, even though the score is the same. I think the two of you owe me an apology. Is that correct? Is that what the group chats?
I don't owe you anything. You almost blew it. The fact that you came through on 95th minute, that game should not have been that close.
That's true.
Okay,
I mean, can we admit that the goalie had the game of his life? Period. Right?
No excuse. No, there's no excuse. Goalie had the game. Then they say against United against Twente. Twente's goalkeeper was pulling out fucking
No, but
balls.
come on.
Yeah.
When you have XG of five full XG, you look at some of the stuff and you're like, how is this even possible? I mean, we got the win at the end of the day. It doesn't really
So
matter.
here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna apologize because you almost blew it, as Biggle has said. My point is that with Rodri's injury that City had, Arsenal are in pole position to win the league.
to
Yes.
finish second.
And if you finish second, you're gonna be bantered upon again
Yes.
because this is your title to lose this
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
for sure.
But agreed.
year. If
I
No
mean,
Rodri wasn't
excuses.
injured, if the Rodri wasn't injured, there's multiple excuses you can make. This year, you can't make those excuses. Now, you can make excuses if you don't win by saying, "Oh, we needed a striker and we stick with Kai Havertz," because Kai Havertz was amazing for the first 3 games. I can't wait till he goes on a blank and run, and you have to rely on I don't know
No, you
God.
can't make that excuse either. You had
Yeah,
multiple years to buy a striker. Why
yep.
didn't you get Osimhen when he was dirt cheap?
Yeah.
Let's not even go there. No, but I agree. I agree with the point, which is like this year we have to win something. Okay, either the Premier League or the Champions League has to be won.
No, you need to start slow. Like, you're not going to win the Champions League in
Yeah,
the
you
first
never know.
format or the Premier League.
I
It's
mean,
either the Premier League
No,
or a cup. But
Premier League or Champions League, nothing else. Like no
oh,
Mickey
yeah,
Mouse cups.
agreed. Listen, I have no complaints there. Like that is, I think, an accurate statement. Because,
I think this is coming from a place of love from
no, 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 I completely
myself
agree.
and
But I
Big
think
Lev.
Big Lev would agree that the levels that are required now are just ridiculous, right? Because you look at it, and
You're just
Hold on,
planting the
hold on.
seed of excuse
No, no,
with
it's not a
level
planting
to
of
which
excuse. It's just showing people the levels because Liverpool had 90 plus points, and I think actually more than 89 three times, didn't win it. Like when we were chatting in the group chat, this year the levels are ridiculous, and that's why I'm like, we get one shot. If we don't do it this year, I think next year the cycle is already gonna start. We have to start looking for a new cycle. So I think Arteta, my man, you have one more year. This is it.
oh really? Really? You're
You know
gonna
what?
sack Arteta
No, no,
if he
no,
finishes
not sack
second?
Arteta. The problem is you have to rotate your players. You know, because you can't keep using the same core group of players again and again. I think this is like a failing of many teams. It's like you have to get rid of 3 or 4 core players and cycle in 3 or 4 and kind of restart the cycle. But no, absolutely not. So I think that's why this year is the year to avoid having to do that. They have to win the Premier League this year.
I agree, but my point is that Arsenal for the past 3 years that they've been, or 2 years that they've been actually in and around, they have been saved a lot with last minute wins. And I was telling you last year when we were recording that it shouldn't happen in October. It should happen in May.
Yeah,
And you
it's
have
not
Trossard
sustainable.
coming in. It's unsustainable. At
Yeah.
some point, it's going to collapse. But this is the best year for you to do it because there's no Rodri, and I doubt that City's going to go to 95 points this year, which is
I mean
more realistic.
let's revisit that in like a couple months. I think the next team obviously currently top of the table, Wolves 1 versus Liverpool 2. What a boring game, Big Lev. I hate to say it. It was just the most run of the mill win. Is that pretty fair to
That
say?
that's how champions win, baby. You can't
Uh
only win when you play well. You win even when you don't play well. But yeah,
and
no, it's. But see, like we always, the games against Wolves are not always like slam dunks, but we somehow pull it out. So when you said last week, "Oh, you're gonna lose," I'm like, nah, my friend. No, like defense still looks shaky. Allison had to step in there a couple of times. It looks so different without his beard. Kind of
yeah, he
weird.
looks a baby without his
Yeah,
beard.
but like, see again, like defense has been the biggest change I think for me since Klopp. That they're before like this last couple of games they've been super solid, and even now like Van Dijk looks really good. Konate looks okay. So let's see how long they can keep this going. I think at some point they'll fall off unless a couple of players who are currently underperforming pick it up.
That's
And those
true.
couple of players, I mean the midfield.
Yeah. I,
Specifically, Soboslai and McAllister has not played at the height that he played last year.
Yeah, that's true. But I think on the flip side, though, you have to admit, Wolves going forward offered nothing, right? They were completely toothless. It's almost like they were mentally already had lost the game before coming to the game. Like the opportunities, especially towards the last 10 minutes, instead of throwing the ball and attacking, they just were so passive. If you saw, the Wolves fans were booing their own players in the last 10 minutes because they were passing between the 2 center backs and the goalie. So that's why I feel like Liverpool gets kind of a pass right now because the teams just are not attacking them. I don't understand why you wouldn't go at Liverpool. Like, why would you not attack down the wings?
Because Liverpool is like very good counter-attacking team. So I think they're just afraid of getting caught.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it'll be interesting, honestly. I think just quickly, last game to touch on before we move into the rest is Man United 0, Spurs 3. So now, Mr. KG, we're gonna have to limit you to a quick take. I'm gonna do quick fire questions. Do you fire Ten Hag this week? Yes or no?
He's going to be fired at the end of the week.
You think so?
They came out with a statement saying he has 2 games. Like, they're backing him for the next 2 games. What
AK,
does
it's
that mean?
over.
AKA, it's like international break.
I mean,
Fuck out.
this game was everything that is wrong with United, right? This was actually a perfect game that encapsulated the entire Ten Hag philosophy or lack thereof.
Can I just say that Fernandez didn't deserve this get a red
Yes,
card,
not
but that
deserved.
doesn't change anything. Even if he was on the field, the maximum it would have been 2-1.
Yes.
They wouldn't. I don't see how they would have changed unless a team talk suddenly. I don't know. He gave them some cocaine so they can run fast. I don't know. They looked very down. It looked like they didn't have a plan. It looked like there was no cohesion, and it looked like there's no strategy with Eric Ten Hag. I watched Karabakh play against Tottenham, and they had more of a strategy, more of a understanding of what they need to do. They had an XG of 2 that they didn't score. They missed the penalty, and they just couldn't execute the strategy. They knew what they had to do; it just didn't work for them. Whereas I watched United play against Tottenham, and they didn't know what to do. It was completely like the passes weren't there. It looked like they played 3 games before they came on the pitch,
Yeah.
and that's all on the manager. It's not
But
on anyone else.
question: why do you keep Ten Hag over the summer and spend all that money when it was? You could already see he was bad,
And
and
I think
it's 6 games in, and he's like already a dead man walking.
the excuse that I mean, not the excuse. The reason what that Ineos provided for that was that they believed that there wasn't a sufficient enough substitute in the market.
Yeah,
That,
but there's not even a market now.
but they did a sneaky thing. They brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy and essentially the head manager of Go Ahead Eagles. They were both main coaches of the respective teams, and removed the assistant of Erik Ten Hag and put him there, which is
Mm.
clearly like, oh, we can't substitute any, we can't find our preferred version. Our preferred version is Erik Ten Hag, so we're gonna stick with him. We're gonna trigger his contract so he doesn't walk if things go well. But
Yeah.
Plan B, if things go bad, we're gonna remove his assistants who he worked with at Ajax for 6 years. The other bald guy that used to sit next to him, he's gone. He's gone, and we're gonna bring Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's this Ole effect, and Go Ahead Eagles' main coach to be in paired together if he gets the boot, essentially. That's my understanding of the situation.
I mean, Go Ahead Eagles is the powerhouse of coaching, so
I mean,
first of all,
it's better than what he's doing right now, right? It's truly atrocious to watch.
And my point is that if there are like just this is a psychological question. If you are an assistant manager to your boss and you know that your boss is under fire and you know that you can be the boss if he gets fired, and like they when they brought you, they probably told you like, you need to be assisting here. You're going to be doing this. There probably was a reason why. Like you're not dumb. Would you actually help 100% to the guy who's like drowning? Would you throw him a life vest or you see him drown?
I mean,
That's my question.
even if you do throw him a life vest, it doesn't matter because he's gonna poke a hole in it. That's literally what Ten Hag. So I'm with you. That I think that made it worse though, right? For Ten Hag, knowing that this all happened, like all his power has essentially been stripped away during the whole summer. During the whole we searched and we couldn't find a replacement. I'm like, Ten Hag, why didn't you quit? Why didn't you? They're clearly like you said, all the signs are pointing to they're gonna get rid of you, and they're even bringing in temporary replacements in case they need fire in the middle of the season. Why wouldn't you quit on a high when you want the FA Cup?
That's a question that you need to ask him. He believed that he has a plan. He believed he has the plan. What I honestly believe Ten Hag and his project was, I think he just didn't realize the scale, the level, the scale, and the reason that there's a lot of comparisons with Arne Slot, and I think the difference between Arne Slot and Ten Hag is that Arne Slot walked into the team that's ready and their winning mentality, and they have all the players who won the Premier League and they were managed under Klopp, where he can like there is still time to see what he's going to do. For now, he's just running the car as it was. He tweaked it a bit. It's like he put a new a bumper
Yeah.
on the car. He didn't do much. Whereas Tanga had to walk in and change the car fully, and he makes mistakes, and people are telling him, no, this car is not going to be driving, and he goes, no, this car will be driving, and that's essentially where we are right now. And the first season, what everyone points to, I believe sincerely that it was all this system of doing the counter-attacking football, which he tweaked a bit and was successful. He won the Carabao Cup, he finished third, and then when he had to rebuild his own system and implement a new one, he either didn't realize the intensity of the league, he didn't realize the quality of the players that he had, he didn't realize the shortcomings that they have. That's the reason because he failed. It's just he took a wrong turn and he didn't have the best advice along the way, probably.
So then I have a question for you too. So Gary O'Neill or Eric Ten Hag, who's getting fired first?
Ten
Eric Ten
Hag.
Hag.
Ten Hag,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. Okay, Gary
I mean,
O'Neill, Ten Hag, or Lopetegui?
you hired the guy who choked away a Champions League semi-final to Tottenham Hotspurs, a whole team.
Yes.
So you knew this day was coming.
I mean, I think this is a natural point because by the time we come back from the winter break, from the international break, Ten Hag is going to be gone. So
No, he's gonna be gone at the final whistle. That's
yeah,
he's
I
gonna be
agree.
gone then.
I agree.
I don't see the only way he cannot be gone is if he beats Porto 3-0 and he beats Aston Villa 3-0 when they dominate on the ball. And it's not a shaky, when I think he has no mentality in the team. I think as soon as the team goes 1-0 down,
They're done.
they're done. It's
Yeah.
just all over the place. There's nothing he can do. And just the last point, and we can close off this conversation. There was apparently a Daily Mail article that mentioned that there is disbelief in the dressing room. They don't believe that he's the man anymore. So there's leaks now of people going like, he is out the way. I think it started again, and everything points to that. You just know we've been through a lot of this, so we know where it's heading. And my hot take is that I believe Rashford is the one who's doing all the leaks, and people are
Oh.
pointing at Pogba and Lingard throughout the whole life. They even pointed at Tom at some point, but I sincerely believe that it's Rashford. He's the only one who has the cojones and the name and the idea to be like, oh, the dressing room doesn't like him anymore. That's the only guy who can do it, and he needs a new manager. I really hope whoever comes in next gets rid of Rashford. That's my dream.
Let's. I love the conspiracies. It's actually one of my favorite
Yeah.
things. I'm beginning to fall into them. All right, boys. Let's do a quick version today of Hero of the Week and Donkey of the Week. I will go first. So my Hero of the Week, very obvious one, I have to say is Cole Palmer. That dude is unstoppable. But I have to give a minor hero for Nico Jackson, who's enabling a lot of Cole Palmer's hard work. I think
Yeah.
Cole Palmer is not doing this in a bubble. Nico Jackson is doing so much work to make space for Cole Palmer to run into. Amazing duo. And then my donkeys of the week, once again, is the PGMOL and their stupid VAR decision making. Perfect example, this Bruno red card. Once again, they have proved how corrupt and useless they are. And
Not only that, the day after we were saying that,
there
and
it
they
is.
apologize and they're like, I think if we pull together all our resources, that's the actual quote. If we pull together all our resources, we should have come to a different conclusion. Yeah, as if you were given a TV remote and the ability to fucking rewind. Is that all of your resources? You
Nothing left to
fucking
say.
imbeciles. Imbeciles.
Imbeciles. Alright. Big
No.
Lev, who you got for us? Hero and Donkey.
Well, Cole Palmer obviously has to be the hero of the
Yeah.
week, but I will also give it to Ibrahim Konate for all the entertainment he's provided us, first scoring the goal and then giving away the goal for no reason whatsoever. My donkey of the week is Diego Dallo, who literally was like, was in the dressing room, heard Eric Ten Hag's whatever plan he had, and was like, nah, I'm gonna concede a goal in the first minute by just not giving a shit.
So
Did you
bad.
see? Did you see him jogging back and going when they can see going like this? Like, is this a pickup game? He's just like
It's like,
raised his hand. He's like,
sorry guys.
sorry, mate. It was my coverage. Didn't make. I do that in a pickup game when I'm just too lazy to run. I don't
See?
get paid 150K a week.
You could
So
have
I
been a professional.
could have, should have, would have.
Who do you have for us, KG?
My hero of the week is going to be a little bit different from you lot because of him. Cole Palmer got a lot of love, and I do appreciate the good Cole Palmer appreciation moment. My hero of the week is Brennan Johnson from Tottenham.
Yeah.
I think he had a good week. He scored good goals. His shot is just incredible. His finishing is top notch. I think he's developing well in Tottenham. So it's good to see that a guy is getting forward. My donkey of the week is obviously Eric Ten Hag, standing there doing nothing. I mean, you are a manager who prepares the team to go out. They concede on the first minute of the first half, and they concede on the first minute of the second half. After you made substitutions and you probably told them something, they concede immediately. It's you, bro. It's
It's
you.
you.
I mean, 30% is the players, but they probably stopped believing in you. It's you. I think they were for you for the FA Cup win, but now if they don't believe in you, it's you, my friend. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's done.
he's not a bad manager. I just want to say
Yeah,
he
yeah.
would be successful in a mid-table team and can take them up to maybe a Champions League spot. But he's not a top team or a top brand type of team. Like he can't carry Man United, he can't carry Liverpool. He'll never carry Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
So that's
Donkey.
Donkey.
Donkey. All right. And then to wrap up, boys, let's do our betting odds. So obviously, I got destroyed last week. All three of my betting odds: Brighton to beat Chelsea, Wolves to beat Liverpool. Absolutely not true, though. Konate really did help me. And then United to beat. United and Spurs to tie. Complete garbage. So this week, I have made a huge improvement.
No.
Huge improvement. So I have three for
Oh.
this week. I have City Fulham to draw under 1.5. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea Forest. I have Forest to come with an upset because they're in good form. And then
Oh dear
Arsenal
lord.
Southampton. I'm doing something different. I'm going to give a precise score. I'm doing 4-0. And of course, my $15 are going to net me just under $10,000.
Oh, look at this.
Doing something different now. I see.
Something different. What
Especially
do you guys have for me?
City drawing three games in a row in the Premier League. That's just gonna happen.
First time
Yeah.
for everything.
I have City winning against Fulham, Arsenal winning against Southampton, Crystal Palace falling to Liverpool, Leicester Bournemouth under 2.5 goals, Aston Villa Man U over 2.5 goals,
Mm-hmm.
and Everton either winning or drawing. Newcastle either drawing or winning against Everton. That will net me a modest $169.69. Very
Nice.
nice.
Very nice. Also, honestly, the most reasonable betting odds that you've just given. Like, all of them, I'm like, yeah, this is a perfect
Well,
suit.
all my insane bets so far has led me to grand total of $0. So I'm changing up my strategy a little bit.
Fair enough. All right. What's the leader doing?
The leader with $40, $45 in his account walks in. I just selected 3 games. I didn't do much. Brighton versus Tottenham, both teams to score an over 2.5 goals. So either 2-1 or 3-1, whatever it is, would suffice for me. Leicester beat Bournemouth, both teams to score, and Newcastle to beat Everton. And that will bring me on $15.75.
Yeah, reasonable. You see, guys, go big or go home. Why win 75 when you can win 9,870? Huh?
Watch Southampton score in the 5th minute.
Honestly, that's exactly what's going to end up happening. They're going to mess it, and it's going to be one of the most ridiculous things. Saliba makes a mistake or something terrible like that he hasn't done.
Before we wrap up, any highlights of the other leagues that you watched? Any highlights of the other games from?
I'll give you a low light. A low light was Bayern Leverkusen. Was one of the worst, most boring games I have ever witnessed. To the level that I ended up falling asleep. The highlights of and sorry, let me add one more low light because that's what you asked for. Obviously, was Real Madrid Atletico was another absolutely horrendous game to watch. So I have absolutely nothing for you because this was one of the worst weeks of football, especially on Sunday. There was absolutely nothing useful to watch.
I
You?
agree. I watched Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid, and it was just so boring. There was no Mbappe. I don't know why he was missing the game, and it was just so boring. Atletico tried and they failed. Madrid didn't want to try. They pissed each other off. It was a typical derby. I just have to say one small highlight out of the game is Angel Correa.
Ah,
He is just so good in tight spaces.
so
My
good.
God, his feet are so quick. He came on the pitch and he created that goal for Atletico and he brought them level. The goal that he scored, just to be able to under pressure while you're going down to move the ball away from Courtois and then knee it in.
So good.
Kudos to him. So good, and
So good.
I just don't understand how Atletico's playing. They have so many talents and options up front with Sorloth, Griezmann, and Julian Alvarez, and Julian Alvarez just doesn't make sense to me. Speaking of a system player, that guy is a system player, my man.
Yeah.
He can't play in Atletico Madrid.
Simeone just can never make it to the. I mean, again, they've been successful, but they've also spent money. You know, the whole Atletico
Yeah.
thing. But his inability to just convert it to a possession attacking, we've seen it for years. How many years have we seen him try? It's always the same cycle, right? They do well in the defensive counterattack, tries to transition, it doesn't work. It's basically West Ham, but more successful in many ways with one single
No,
manager.
in many ways, in one single match. And he won the league a couple of times. But yeah,
That's true.
I
And
think
Champions League finals. But
yeah,
just like he just always has the players, but he can never get to that possession football.
He has a playmaker missing. He never has a playmaker. He plays with two defensive midfielders, and then he thinks Griezmann's gonna solve it. Or like
And to be clear, Griezmann has solved it for year
Yeah.
after year. It's just like Griezmann's
even this
retired. He's
game,
old.
he's the one who created the moment. He sits so deep and he plays as a playmaker. It's just he's not. I mean, I don't know. Another
Griezmann.
highlight is Asasuna beating Barcelona.
What a
That's
game!
our highlight.
Well, the thing is, they deserve to win it, but also Hansi Flick. I hope you learned your lesson. You can't sub 8 players and start 8 teenagers. Like, what are you doing? Like, you put them all on the bench. So it was a lesson learned. But still, of course, Yamin Lamane comes and he should have scored 3 goals. He's so good.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he's so young and so consistent. It's just unbelievable. He really is a regenerative. Ronaldinho meets Messi meets a bunch of other Arjen Robben.
He's only 16.
16. That's just like I don't even know what to say anymore.
I think we'll bring this up next week as well with more interesting leagues.
With international break.
We can cover Serie A as well because I think Scotty McTotti is playing there pretty well.
Scotty McTotti. All right. On that, boys, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Goodbye forever.